Today's guest is a social media and revenue guru by the name of Poutine. He has honed his craft back from his humble beginnings where he began as an artist himself, who learned how to break the code on exploding the amount of real fan followers while increasing his streams along with it. He then decided to turn around and offer his help to others. We polled Northern Touch Music Festival's social media for artists to submit their questions for Poutine. We had a huge response with more questions than we could possibly ever cover in one episode, but there were a few common questions in certain areas, so I grouped some of those together to cover during this episode. At Rockstar_Waves asks, how did you start? So we'll make sure and cover his beginnings. Some strategy questions. At Fans of Shah, how fans can support Shah when he has no shows during this pandemic. At the Glace Bay Experience, how to grow my likes and comments the cheapest way possible. At Space Cowboy _, how to become Instagram famous. At B.Feller, how to have more engagement and interactions on posts, how to build your followers organically ideally, and how to get more streams. At mo.spencemusic, tips on how to get your music heard and seen worldwide. So, knowing a bit about Poutine and his strategies, I know he's going to cover a lot of these questions just by explaining some of his tips and what he has to offer today. We are honored to have him on the show. Please welcome Poutine. Welcome, Poutine. Super excited to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. You know, we're keeping busy with this show and other shows we're working on, keeping me busy in isolation. You came here giving us your time to try and kick some game to help these artists. We're greatly appreciative of it. You run a business. Normally, businesses don't do so well when you give stuff away for free, but you're willing to do that. That's amazing. Before we get into that, I'm just curious about what got you started in all this, and explain what your business is and how you got started into it.
So, I just had, a big following at the start. I built my account from 0 to, up to 10K. So right there, that was my jump start, 10K, you know what I mean? My ways of, actually getting out there to the masses and stuff like that. So that's what I was doing at first, trying to figure out Instagram and, the algorithms and, what gets me blocked and my limits and stuff like that. So that's, what really, helped me, get out there the most. But how it made, how I started making this into, a business and, sending it out there to, others and helping, mainstream artists. I seen a post and it was for, a company trying to sign artists, and their name was Candy Pens. What happened was I just got them to my fans to comment over 1,000 times my name. So that just picked a lot of attention. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Especially if someone doesn't know you and they just see a name coming up from all different accounts. They're who is this guy?
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean? And why is this happening? They were talking to me saying they're going to sign me and stuff, major company from the States saying, how'd you do that and stuff? And I'm I'm the plug. That's all I would tell them is I'm the plug. You know what I mean? You got to use me.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so they wouldn't go for it or anything like that. So they signed another artist that was actually in the contest that I found and started paying me to promote his post.
So they're paying him.
Because they picked him. They picked him over me. You know what I mean? But he was paying me for promo.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
So I was oh, okay.
You're the plug, and you're also on the inside, and they probably didn't even realize it.
And I'm talking to them too, and they didn't even realize that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I got all my comments deleted, and they started asking me, going, "Oh, why are you getting all the comments deleted? Where are they going?" And I'm well, you weren't answering me because they went completely cold on me. You know what I mean? They wouldn't answer my messages or anything. But so I was okay, I'll just get everyone to delete the comments.
Yeah. So the plug unplugged.
Yeah, I was taking back what I brought, and they started tripping out. And what happened was they had a lot of mainstream artists and influencers coming up, like Instagram influencers, Fat Boy SSE and stuff like that.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So they actually have an Amber Rose collection and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of those people seen me doing that, and they're bro, you're crazy. So what happened was from one of the artists that seen me, he helped me make this into a service, what I do, and showed me how to actually make it into packages and stuff. But here's the best thing about it. He pitched it to Candy Pens, my services, and they bought into my services and were paying me for 3 months and didn't even know they were paying me.
That's awesome. What a story. That's so cool. Hey, Shah, my man. Thanks for joining in. How you doing?
What's going on, dog? I'm doing okay. I see my dog Poutine's here in the building.
What up? What up? What up?
What's going on, fam?
You know, just being poutine, chilling, fries, cheese, and gravy. And what about you, Bi?
I didn't know that Poutine went all the way out to the East Coast. I thought it stopped at the French part.
No, it went all the way out here. Unfortunately, I gained a couple pounds.
But y'all got lobster, y'all got shrimp. Why would you fuck with potatoes and gravy and cheese?
Because you got to throw hamburger on it, you got to throw bacon on it, you got to throw stuffing, and then you actually got some combo there that's like, oh, flavor.
Lobster poutine.
All right, so you're throwing meat on it. I see it, but still, I don't understand. Y'all got all the seafood in the whole world, and why y'all eating? You know, like
I eat those French PEI. Well, those fancy PEI potatoes, you know.
Oh, got it. Even
true.
the potatoes is on another level. All right.
Yeah.
So the reason that I got connected with you was, well, like it's legit, and he broke down the way that you do it, which is through effort.
I know Instagram's pretty popping these days.
Well, first off, knowing your limits, how much people you can message, because you can only send out a certain amount of messages in like every hour, you know what I mean? Or you'll get blocked and it'll say action blocked, you're being spam, you know what I mean? So you got to figure out that. And then you got to make yourself a human. You got to humanize yourself. Just saying hey and just being a normal person, you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying by humanizing, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like actually like reaching out to someone, like catching their attention. Like if you, like how I got these clothes, like was made by a guy in Vancouver. I was like, I like your clothes a lot, man. And that's how a conversation started. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So it was just things that
with the words you use, with the words that you use to engage people.
So don't be one of those artists that just, without even saying hi, just blast you a link, listen to my stuff, and it's like, hello?
Yeah, like,
know
who are you?
Like, yeah.
I can say firmly, because even if I have homies who are artists, even the homies that are artists that have got something going on, and I kind of rock with, and I rock with the music in Atlanta or wherever, from there and all the way down to strangers that I never met before. If you just text someone a link to the music or DM someone a link to the music,
just text. I had to throw that in.
Despite it, but if you just text me hello or whatever important information, I'll rock with it. But if you just text a link, you DM me a link to music with no words, even if you're the homie, I'm not going to check that out because there's something so impersonal about it.
Yeah. So based on the responses, they're like, hey, question mark, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, what's up? Like, sorry about that. You know what I mean? I have a system that just did that by mistake. Like, how
so you acknowledge that right off the bat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm just like, oh, sorry. Like if they're like weirded out by it, or if they're like, hey, then I'm like, okay, let's go with the conversation then. You know what I mean? But if they're like, hey, question mark, then I'm like,
yeah. Like if you can tell that they're a bit irritated or they're like confused or whatever it is, you'll just address that. So
yeah, that's the thing. Like as long as I'm transparent with everyone, telling them my intentions and everything like that, that's the best thing. Like they're gonna be like rocking with me 100%. They're gonna be like, he's real. You know what I mean?
No, that's true. And the one thing that I've like learned about you, and this is why I rock with you, this is why Shay recommended you, is because, well, ultimately it works. Even if you were a dickhead, but the shit worked. It's like, well, I got to listen to what you're saying, right? But the fact that you're doing things genuinely and it works, it's like, well, you're the type of person that I want to rock with, right? And you're the type of person that like you can't Google and bank on coming across someone like you. You know what I mean? You can Google and bank on coming across like a company like Streaming Promotions that is not going to do you any good.
Not
right?
human at all.
Yeah.
Human.
So I have a similar experience as to what you just said, but then I guess part of being human though is also maybe some patience and maybe some the experience you have as well. Because I remember I had a system that I think maybe I still use sometimes, but it's that whenever there's an action from someone that's indicating, hey, this is a potential for a new fan, right? So basically someone who follows, someone who likes, like, you know, more than one or two posts in a row, maybe someone who leaves like an engaging comment, then I would have someone on the team, like someone trusted. There's not a lot of people who have access to my Instagram, right?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say too. Like you're gonna need a team. Like if you don't know like how to message people or interact, you're gonna have a like strong team around you that knows how to talk to people and network and relationship. You know what I mean? So they can run that system and use that tool to their advantage to get you out there farther for what
efficiently,
you want to do.
right?
Efficiently,
right?
exactly. But then you get into the balance of like someone who can do it well and is reliable, but then also you trust enough to like let you in, right?
Right.
Let them in.
So that brings up a question I have then. So like you mentioned how you inbox them, you get a conversation started. So then where do you go from there, and what's your what are you trying to achieve? Like, what are you going to ask them? What are you trying to achieve in the end with that?
Just trying to build a relationship in the end, and just trying to show them like I'm here if you need to talk to me about anything. You can message me, you can DM me whenever, and I'll answer. You know what I mean? Like that's the best thing about me. Like if I start messaging you and expecting you to answer, I'll answer you like the exact like time you message me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I start doing stuff like that, like
it's like a relationship building.
Yeah, and I'm trying to build like a cult following where they're like, okay, like I get his intentions, I understand what he's doing. If I was to send like, say if I was to send Sahah's post, you know what I mean, to someone, and they're like, why did you send me some random guy's post? You know what I mean? That's not your post.
How do you kind of get people to want to execute these things for you? Because you said 1,000 people commented. How did that kind of happen?
Well, that's me going through like hashtags and stuff like that. So like I'd actually like be searching up new hashtags and stuff. So like for new music and stuff. So I'd go to those hashtags and I'd be looking at the most recent ones and actually engage with those posts and say something about the song or something like that. Like I like your cover art, you know what I mean? And then it usually ends up to them liking it. So then there's where the power of reciprocation comes in, where I feel free, where I can DM them. Because if you start making actions on their posts and stuff like that, then Instagram's going to pick that up as not spam because you are both interacting with each other.
There you go. That's that algorithm knowledge there. Yeah. That's smart.
And that was the thing. I had to figure out my limits and stuff. So like I got blocked thousands of times. Like I still get blocked on the daily. You know what I mean? Because Instagram's updating on the daily. So like I got to be figuring out like what I can do in my limits. And if I start going over my limits, then how I got to go down. So it's all hands on what I do. You know what I mean?
Reaching the limits, seeing what works. To me, that's kind of like phase 2 of understanding how to operate. Because phase 1, I think for most artists, at least like if it's artists like how I was, and maybe sometimes I still am, is understanding the human aspect of engaging fans. Because Hugh just asked, well, what's the goal, right? And like once the conversation is rolling, what's the goal, right? And how I think most people would think of that is like, so are you trying to bring them to Spotify? Are you trying to get a YouTube view? And you're like, well, it's to build a relationship, which shows that, I mean, it's not a short-term thing.
And you have a network that you can send to anywhere from one platform.
Right. That's also a unique thing that you're building that I haven't seen a lot of.
Can you elaborate on that a bit? That sounds very intriguing. Like the call to arms, I like that's I'm interested. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I can like that's how like my services work. Like I actually send my like fan base of the page that I'm building from my own like real people. I'm sending them on to other people. So like it's like I'm putting them on through the DMs, and I'm knowing my limits so I don't get blocked. So like other than the people I've grown with already, then I'm already able to grow with new people too. So the people like I'm building with on the daily, I'm just making my army build like bigger and bigger. And then I'm trying to figure out what I can do to like get them all in one place. Like if you ever heard of what's that app called? It's like a video game app where streamers go in.
Oh, for streaming?
Discord. Discord.
Oh, okay.
So like you can make like big groups, you know what I mean, with Discord groups.
Right.
So that's my next plan, like getting like 40 solid people into like one Discord group that are going to stay consistent, you know what I mean, with like the team and stuff like that, and be a part of a team.
So I guess Discord's sort of like a clubhouse, if you will.
Yeah, it's kind of like starting out your fan base in your clubhouse, or like even like just putting solid people into one place, and then you can game with those people too and like build with them, you know what I mean? And hey, like they might just hit me up randomly because they see my following go. Like I bet you Sahah had this a bunch of times because he's verified, like people asking for a shout out, you know what I mean? And then what I do is I go, yeah, I'll give you a shout out, but you have to send me a video of you actually listening to my song. And like, you know what I mean? So like I've got thousands of videos of people actually listening to my song. So then that's just going to be like, oh, I see you got posted by that guy. Like
that's like an ad. Every time it's an ad. It's like Shah could have like 1,000 people all of a sudden advertising his latest single on their own profiles. That'd be, and then I guess hashtag Dave Shah.
And then bringing their friends, you know what I mean? Into it. And then it's like It's kind of like triggering something in those people thinking like, oh, if he does it, then it's okay that I'll do it too. You know what I mean? And he might see that.
So you're saying, so you're saying that someone will see me like post a story where I'm shouting you out or something like that. And then that person then hits you up and they're like, yo, I see Shah posted you. And then it's special in their mind because I'm verified.
Yeah.
And then they ask you for something. And then you're like, yeah, Shah's, yeah, I fuck with Shah, blah, blah, blah. Sure, I'll do this thing for you, but here's my ask first. And then is that person that you're saying that's hitting you up, is this someone who's never seen you before? Like it's someone who's seen it from so that's dope then.
Yeah, so I'm just putting it right onto my music. I'm like, send me a video, listen to my music, and then they can become a fan there or not. You know what I mean? It's 50-50. They don't like it. They're like, I'm not going to send you a video. And then I'm like, okay.
So yeah, all the Shah fans out there that are listening or anyone who just wants something from me, yeah, and I just bodied you, whatever, I should have gone about it a different way. So that's game. So what is it that you do that allows you to have that relationship with your fans, your audience?
So like what allows me to like actually like turn them into like a fan and like an audience that'll answer me and stuff like that on the daily.
Or if you say, hey, everyone go bomb this guy's comments, that they'll actually go and do that.
First, you got to have like a humanizing thing, like I'm saying. So like you can't just like hit them up with the same spam thing every day, you know what I mean? You're actually gonna have to DM them and be like, hey man, can you like do this for me? You know what I mean? So like individually going one by one, putting the time into it is the best thing to get your results that you want back into this, you know what I mean? But then once I go through all them people, I start targeting new people, you know what I mean? To keep the cycle going, like I was saying, like how I go through like new music and stuff like that, hashtags and stuff. So I keep the cycle going where a new person would come in, then I can start engaging with them to bring them over to there too, and then start trying to bring them in, you know what I mean? Like, you know how a call center goes through their leads and stuff like that?
I did for 6 months and I had to quit because I wanted to murk myself.
I don't know. How do they go through their leads?
So like a call center, like they'll just like run through their leads. But like what I found out working at the call center, if I dial faster, I'm running through all my leads, you know what I mean? And then I'm getting better calls. So I get more sales. So I'm playing the numbers game there where I'm calling more people so I get more chance of a sale because I'm going through all the bad stuff to get to the good stuff. Because you're going to have to go through bad. There's going to be people that are going to be like, no, I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? But I don't care if they say that. I'm like, okay, have a good day. Like, you know what I mean? I go on.
You got to find out, right?
Yeah, you got to ask. That's the whole point. You got to ask and actually be out there to actually like get out there and put your face out there to people.
So then we can get into your way of finding people, which is finding new people you're doing through hashtags that suggest that this is a person that's going to be down to find a new artist to be a fan of, right?
And looking at their aesthetic too to their page, like you can fuck with their vibes off their aesthetics of their page and how they post, you know what I mean? Some are artsy and stuff like that, so you could be like, if you put compliments out there like that, you can just say like, that's how our relationship built, you know what I mean?
For sure. And that you would just need to have an eye of like, well, looking at their gallery, yeah, this is going to be someone who is going to fuck with my shit. That's going to be your brand, your reputation. So that's going to take some while. It's going to take you a while for you to be able to build that reputation. I already knew that was the case with Poutine because Shay put the heavy cosign on him. And then when I look with my own brain into what you do, it's like, oh, well, this is how you operate, right?
Yeah.
So, but it did work for me because me, who's going to have a very short temper with this sort of shit, didn't come up at all. You ask, it's like, oh, this is just what it is, right? So,
and people are misleading too, like other promoters. They're not going to tell you straight up what's going on. I actually tell you what's going on and what's happening with what I'm doing. So like before we even got into like people sending me money or anything like that, like I'm just straight up telling you what the plan's going to be, what I'm going to be doing for my part, and how I'm going to be achieving it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's smart.
What are some hashtags that people out there who are looking for users that might be open to be fans, what are those hashtags that they should search for and then do that work?
You got to think of what a new artist would be putting out there, like someone that's trying to get attention off hashtag gaining. So you got to put new artist, you got to put artist, you got to put music, new music, 2020, you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
That's pretty logical. That's pretty logical stuff.
Yeah,
but then you got to do the work
simple.
of individually hitting up the people that are using those hashtags
and finding out your limits, because you're going to get blocked, you're going to get irritated. That's when people quit. But you find out your limits and start playing with the algorithm and actually writing it down. You know what I mean? You're going to be like set there. You're going to be able to mess with the system and use your tools properly.
You become a master of those platforms.
So a lot of game, Poutine. I have some ideas of what we can do moving forward, but I think for today, you've given a lot for artists to actually follow. So
you dropped a Poutine bomb. Much appreciated. And Shah as well. Thank you for coming in again here too and continuing to help this show grow and help others that are watching. So shout out Poutine, shout out Shah. For those watching, get in the comments. Let us know if this helped you. If you have further questions, because hopefully we'll have Poutine back again if he's down for it.
Shout out Northern Touch.
Peace.
Peace.